creating an early years or nursery circle time routine that works. If you work in a nursery, preschool or childminder and you want to give your circle time routine a bit more excitement, maybe your circle time routine has gone a bit stale and you want more engagement from your children, then stick around, because in this video we're going over how you can create a circle time routine that really works. But first, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel Open Nursery with myself, Kurt Liania, where I support you to open, run and grow your own childcare business. If this is your first time here, make sure you check out the channel. I post regular videos all around the topic of childcare, from what is a Montessori nursery and a Montessori approach, to providing information about how county lines affects the early years. So make sure you subscribe, as there's lots on the channel to support you in your childcare career. One of the biggest struggles as an early years practitioner is to actually get our children to sit and engage during our circle time routines. We try our hardest, from over-the-top actions in our stories to putting on our best, most dramatic singing voices. Sometimes it can feel like nothing we can do will work. Sometimes our children prefer to play with their shoes, read their own book, or just wander off. Anything else except for actually get involved in our circle time. But what do? Most of the time we just end up repeating the same process day in, day out, expecting or hoping for a different result. And this may work eventually. We may eventually wear our children down long enough that they will eventually sit down and participate in our circle time. But today I want to propose a different way, potentially a better way, so that you can have a nursery circle time routine that actually works. So how can we improve our circle time? Firstly, we need to understand the attention spans of the children that we're providing the circle time to. You may be surprised to know what the actual average attention span is of the children that we care for. According to happiestbaby.com, generally speaking, children can pay attention for roughly 2 to 3 minutes per age that they are. So a 2-year-old would have an attention span of roughly 4 to 6 minutes, a 3-year-old of 6 to 8 minutes, and a 4-year-old would be able to pay attention for roughly 8 to 12 minutes. This means that most children will be able to play on their own for a short period of time, but will require encouragement and support from a grown-up to stick at tasks for longer than this. So think about this. Compare this to how long your circle times are at the moment. By the time we've rounded up all of our children, got all the resources that we need together, and finally started our circle time, many of us would have already exceeded the average attention span for our children. And then we expect our children to sit for an extended period after this as well. It's difficult for our children. All people, even us adults, can only sit and focus at a task for periods before we start to lose focus. And this period of time for children is very short, yet our circle time generally doesn't reflect this, as it usually goes on for much longer. As I mentioned, 3-year-olds can generally focus for roughly 6 to 8 minutes and 2-year-olds for 4 to 6 minutes. Yet most of our circle times aren't fully adapted to this. We should be adjusting our circle time length for the age group of the children that we have. Doing this should improve the engagement in your circle time. The second thing that we should be doing in order to improve our circle time is to get a better balance between active parts of your circle time and passive parts of your circle time. So what does this mean? Passive parts of your circle time involve children sitting and listening to either you or their peers. So an example of this is when children are listening to you tell a story. As generally, when you're telling a story, children will just be sitting and listening to you read. Naturally, this creates its own challenges, as children may find it difficult to focus on a story for an extended period. Which is why, when choosing stories, it is best to choose stories that involve audience participation, or ones that encourage you to read them dramatically or loudly. This will all help to boost the children's engagement. When children are engaged in passive learning or education, they are going to be less engaged, and we will have a harder time keeping them focused during our circle time. An easy way to keep them focused is through active parts of our circle time. So what can be active parts of your circle time? This is where children are participating with you during your circle time, rather than just watching or listening to you. An example of this is where we might do singing in our circle time. So we might sing songs like Head, Shoulders, Knees or Toes, or I Had a Little Turtle. Just songs where children can sing and do the actions too. This will help our children be more engaged and prevent them losing focus as quickly. Whenever I personally saw children getting bored during my circle time, I'd immediately start singing a favourite of the children, which was Sleeping Little Bunnies. This always helped to get their energy up in the room and improve the engagement of most of the children. The goal with active parts of our circle time is to get children to participate and hopefully move their bodies. My third tip is linked to something that I mentioned earlier, and it involves where we often get our children ready for circle time, either sitting or standing on the carpet, but then have to spend time setting up resources whilst trying to maintain our children's attention and arranging our circle time. To combat this, I suggest making sure that you have all the resources ready before you start and gather your children. Now this may sound obvious, but I'm sure we've all been there. We gather all our children ready to start circle time off and then ask one of them to choose a book or sing a song, and then they can't decide what book or song, causing a delay to us properly starting our circle time. Remember, whenever we've gathered our children together, their attention span clock is ticking. We have to act fast. Every second is crucial. Getting them together and then asking a child to choose a book is using up some of those precious minutes that we have to play with before they start losing attention. So why not consider asking your children in advance what books they want to read or songs they want to sing, so that when you've gathered the children, you can start straight away. Remember, even just turning around to, for example, play a song on a tablet can cause a momentary lull in your circle time, leading to a loss of attention. So think about even these short moments too, and try to work out something that prevents this lull. Any props that you have for your circle time should also be ready. So for example, you may be reading a book around vehicles. If you want to use props for those vehicles, make sure it's ready before you start your circle time. Just try to make sure you have all the resources ready so there's less lull time in your circle time, which will help with their focus. My fourth tip with making your circle time is to change up the routine regularly. Now this doesn't mean every day, as the best thing about circle time is the repetition, as children learn songs through repeating them daily. But you should on occasion try to switch up your circle time. Your circle time routine may be working now, but eventually children may get bored of it, which may naturally happen. So try to have a plan in place that keeps your circle time routine fresh and exciting for your children. Try to implement different props, different songs, or different activities. Just try to change it up every now and then so that all your children remain engaged. What do you do if your circle time routine isn't working? If your circle time routine isn't working, firstly go through the list from this video and see whether you can adjust it based on what you've learned here. Ask yourself these questions. Is your circle time too long for the children that you're currently looking after? Could you introduce more active parts of your circle time? Are there any stoppages in your circle time or lull periods that you can remove? For example, where you're getting resources ready. And when was the last time you changed your circle time routine? Answering and fixing these issues should make your circle time routine more engaging and should help you to create a circle time routine that works. Often we find ourselves trying to put too much in our circle time or trying to make them last a certain length. This is a common mistake and should be avoided. There shouldn't be any pressure to try and make our circle time routine long, especially after knowing that the attention span of the children that we care for is relatively short. Circle time isn't the only period in a day where children learn, and it's important to remember this. Circle time is great, but we can get all the benefits of a circle time from other aspects of our provision, and children will be learning throughout the day that they spend with us. Remember, the best way that children learn is practically alongside us, not from us sitting in front of them and telling them information. So for example, they are more likely to learn about colours from a fun and practical activity that we do with them, or just through conversations we have with them. So for example, by saying, "Oh, I like your red car," rather than us just singing it in a song and potentially pointing to the colour. So try to take the pressure of trying to teach everything during your circle time. Just make your circle time a fun period of the day where all the children and staff can come together and spend time with each other. I challenge you to take out some parts of your circle time which you may believe is really important for children's education. Like, for example, learning about the weather, and just focus on having fun. The main aims for circle time should be around communication, language, and personal, social, and emotional development. Learning about things like the weather comes under expressive art and design, or understanding of the world, which can and is probably better taught at other parts of the day. Plus, don't stress if all your children don't participate. All your children will have different personalities and some children may not feel comfortable participating yet. Though through repetition of songs, children will grow in confidence and you'll find more children participating. So you may have one child that's really self-conscious and won't want to sing a song publicly that they don't know for fear of making mistakes. So during a new song, they may sit for a few days or weeks learning the song before feeling confident enough to sing it with the group. So try not to put pressure on children to participate, as they may not feel comfortable doing so yet. I've had instances where a child hasn't participated in a song during circle time, but then found them singing a song constantly later on during the day. So don't think just because a child isn't participating in your circle time yet, that they aren't gaining anything from it. One final tip that I have for your circle time is what you do once you've finished it. At the end of a circle time, don't just end it and then leave the children to their own devices. Try to let them know what will be happening next and the general routine for the rest of the day. You can even ask children what they want to do next. This prevents the crazy period that sometimes happens after circle time when no one really knows what is happening. By letting children know what is next, it helps them to feel secure and comfortable in their environment, as they are aware of what their expectations are next for them. But that's how you create an early years or nursery circle time routine that works. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. On the screen now is a video that YouTube thinks you'll find useful. Plus, check out the link here where you can get access to a range of documents helping you to run your childcare business. Thank you for watching and God bless.